Hello, my lovelies. It is time for another round of Have I Read It? So stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Have I Read It is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. And the way this one works is you get to help pick my TBR. So I react to a book haul from over 3 years ago, and I tell you if you've read the book, if I haven't read the book, or if I've unhauled the book. And out of all the books that I still own that I have not read from that haul, you get to vote on which book or books you want me to read in the upcoming month. And based on how many there are, if there are 1 through 9 that I haven't read, then I'll pick the number 1 voted book. If there's 10 through 19, I'll pick the top 2 voted books, and so on and so on. So today we're going to be reacting to my book haul for November 2020. And it doesn't look like it's a huge haul. I mean, my head might be blocking some of the books, and there may be more than I can see. But I'm going to guess there's like 20 to 25 books here. So maybe I will have knocked out a good bit. Okay, so I have my earbuds plugged in. I've got my video pulled up. Let's get started. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my November book haul for you, so stay tuned. So I have 17 books to haul for you for November, so let's just jump right in. So the first book I have here is actually a coloring book. It's like an adult coloring book, and that is for The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Okay, I'm not really going to count the coloring book, so I don't even feel like I should mark for that at all. So we're just going to keep going. Next. Okay, next up we have Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix by Julie C. Dow. Okay, one second, let me get the boys to turn down their video games. Okay, so Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix, I believe that is actually a sequel to something. Okay, so that's book 2 in the Rise of the Empress series. The first book is called Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, and I do own that, and I have not read it. So, yeah, we're starting out with one that I haven't read. Okay, so let me read you about that, and that's the one you'll vote for. An East Asian fantasy reimagining of the Evil Queen legend about one peasant girl's quest to become empress and the darkness she must unleash to achieve her destiny. 18-year-old, I don't know how to pronounce this, Saifing is beautiful. The stars say she is destined for greatness, that she's meant to be Empress of Finlu, but only if she embraces the darkness within her. Growing up as a peasant in a forgotten village on the edge of the map, Saifing longs to fulfill the destiny promised to her by her cruel aunt, the witch Guma, who has read the cards and seen glimmers of Saifing's majestic future. But is the price of the throne too high? Because in order to achieve greatness, she must spurn the young man who loves her and exploit the callous magic that runs through her veins. Sorcery fueled by eating the hearts of the recently killed. For the god who has sent her on this journey will not be satisfied until his power is absolute. So if you want me to read this, vote Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. All right, next up. Okay, next up we have A Midsummer Night's Scream by R.L. Stine. And A Midsummer Night's Scream. I'm not sure if I still own this or not. No, that was one that I unhauled. All right, next up. Next up we have Dangerous Deception by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Dangerous Deception. I don't know. Okay, so this is set in the world of Beautiful Creatures, but it's like a spin-off series. And Dangerous Deception is actually book 2 in that series. I do own book 1, which is called Dangerous Creatures, and I have not read it, so that's what you can vote for. This says, some loves are cursed, others are dangerous. Ridley Ducanis will be the first to tell you that she's a bad girl. She's dark, she's a siren, You can never trust her, or even yourself when she's around. Lucky for her, Wesley, Lincoln, can never seem to remember that. Quarter incubus or not, his heart is mortal when it comes to Ridley. When Link heads to New York City to start a music career, Ridley goes along for the ride, and she has her own reasons. As if leaving small town Gatlin for the big city, trying to form a band and surviving life with a partially reformed siren isn't hard enough already, Link soon learns he has a price on his head that no caster or mortal can ever pay. Kimmy Garcia and Margaret Stohl are back and casting another magical spell, their signature mixture of mystery, suspense, and romance, along with a dash of fun and danger, will pull fans in, leaving them begging for more. So if you want me to read this, vote Dangerous Creatures. All right, next up. Next up we have It Sounded Better in My Head by Nina Kenwood. I don't know. Okay, I do still own this, and I have not read it. This says, from debut author Nina Kenwood comes a tender, funny, and compulsively readable novel about first love and its confusions and all of the awkwardness of teen romance. When her parents announce their impending divorce, Natalie can't understand why no one is fighting, or at least mildly upset. When Zach and Lucy, her two best friends, hook up, leaving her feeling slightly miffed and decidedly awkward, she'd always imagined she would end up with Zach one day, in the version of her life that played out like a TV show, with just the right amount of banter, pining, and meaningful looks. Now everything has changed and nothing is quite making sense, until an unexpected romance comes along and shakes things up even further. It Sounded Better in My Head is a compulsively readable love letter to teenage romance in all its awkward glory, perfect for fans of To All the Boys I've Loved Before and Emergency Contact. So if you want me to read this, vote It Sounded Better in My Head. All right, next up. Next up we have On the Come Up, Collector's Edition by Angie Thomas. Ooh, I have read, and I'm pretty sure still own On the Come Up. Let me double check on that. Yes, I do still own that. All right, let me get back to the video. All right, next up. Okay, next up we have The Speaker, which is book 2 of Sea of Ink and Gold by Tracy Chi. I have read and still own The Speaker. Yay. All right, next up. Okay, I am back, and the next book we have is The Towering Sky by Catherine McGee. I don't know if I've read that one. Let me check. I know I've read part of that series. I don't know that I finished it. Okay, so The Towering Sky is book 3, and it's the final book in the series. And I have read books 1 and 2. Okay, so let's see. Now, I more than likely will have to reread, or at least find like spoilery synopsises of the first 2 books, because it's been a long time since I've read them. Before I read this third one. But let me tell you about the first book, because I don't know that I could tell you about the third book without possible spoilers. So the first book is called The 1,000th Floor. And this says, New York City as you've never seen it before. A 1,000-story tower stretching into the sky, a glittering version of the future where anything is possible if you want it enough. Welcome to Manhattan 2118. 100 years in the future, New York is a city of innovation and dreams. Everyone there wants something, and everyone has something to lose. Lita Cole's flawless exterior belies a secret addiction to a drug she never should have tried and a boy she never should have touched. Eris Dodd Radson's beautiful, carefree life falls to pieces when a heartbreaking betrayal tears her family apart. Riley Myers' job on one of the highest floors sweeps her into a world and a romance she never imagined. But will this new life cost Riley her old one? Wat Bakrati is a tech genius with a secret. He knows everything about everyone, but when he's hired to spy for an upper floor girl, he finds himself caught up in a complicated web of lies. And living above everyone else on the 1,000th floor is Avery Fuller, the girl genetically designed to be perfect, the girl who seems to have it all, yet is tormented by the one thing she can never have. Amid breathtaking advancement and high-tech luxury, 5 teenagers struggle to find their place at the top of the world. But when you're this high up, there's nowhere to go but down. And this is sort of like a city all in one building. Like there's literally 1,000 floors. And it has a lot of like Gossip Girl kind of vibes to this series. I really enjoyed it. I marked them as read, but apparently I didn't put any star rating at the time for some reason. So I don't remember exactly what I rated them. But I probably will reread them if I'm going to do this. But if you want me to read this, you can vote The Towering Sky. All right, next up. And then over to this side. This is a 1,000 dot to dot icon. Okay, so just like with the coloring book, I don't think I'm going to count this. So next up. Next we have The Desert Prince by Alicia Sevigny. I feel like I actually hauled that in another video, but The Desert Prince has been unhauled. All right, next up. And then we have Shout by Lori Halse Anderson. I don't think I've ever read Shout. I know I read Speak. Shout is the sequel to Speak. Let me check. I have not read it. I do still own it. This says, best-selling author Lori Halse Anderson is known for the unflinching way she writes about and advocates for survivors of sexual assault. Now inspired by her fans and enraged by how little in our culture has changed since her groundbreaking novel Speak was first published 20 years ago, she has written a poetry memoir that is as vulnerable as it is rallying, as timely as it is timeless. In free verse, Anderson shares reflections, rants, and calls to action woven between deeply personal stories from her life that she's never written about before. Searing and soul-searching, this important memoir is a denouncement of our society's failures and a love letter to all the people with the courage to say #MeToo and #TimesUp, whether aloud, online, or only in their own hearts. Shout speaks truth to power in a loud, clear voice, and once you hear it, it's impossible to ignore. So if you want me to read this, vote Shout. All right, so far we only have 5 books, and we're well over the halfway point. So let's see what's next. Okay, next up we have Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I have read and still own Cemetery Boys. Wait, no. Wait, have I read it? I feel like I read it. I have to check. I feel like I read Cemetery Boys, though. I did. Okay, and I do still own it. Okay. Sometimes I question my memory a lot. Actually, a lot of times I question my memory. All right, next up. And then we have, oh, this big boy. A Peculiar Peril by Jeff Vandermeer. I don't know if I still own it. I don't think I've read it. I unhauled it. All right. Okay. All right, next up. Next up, we have The Infinity Courts by Akemi Dawn Bowman. I'm not sure about this one. Okay, I do still own this, and I have not read it. This says, a smart sci-fi about a teen girl navigating an afterlife in which she must defeat an AI entity intent on destroying humanity. 18-year-old Naomi Miyamoto is certain her life is just beginning. She has a great family, just graduated high school, and is on her way to a party where her entire class is waiting for her, including, most importantly, the boy she's been in love with for years. The only problem? She's murdered before she gets there. When Naomi wakes up, she learns she's in a place called Infinity, where human consciousness goes when physical bodies die. She quickly discovers that Ophelia, a virtual assistant widely used by humans on Earth, has taken over the afterlife and is now posing as a queen, forcing humans into servitude the way she'd been forced to serve in the real world. Even worse, Ophelia is inching closer and closer to accomplishing her grand plans for eradicating human existence once and for all. As Naomi works with a team of rebels to bring down Ophelia and save the humans under her imprisonment, she is forced to reckon with her past, her future, and what it is that truly makes us human. So if you want me to read this, vote The Infinity Courts. All right, next up. Next up we have Riverdale, The Poison Pen by Caleb Rarig. I have unhauled that. I actually unhauled that whole series. All right, only 2 books left. Next up. Okay, next up we have The Betrothed by Kira Cass. I'm not sure if I read The Betrothed or if I even still own it. I unhauled that. All right, let's see what our last book is. And then the last book I have here is Forever Neverland by Susan Adrian. I'm not sure if I've read this one or if I even still own it. I do still own this one and I have not read it. This says, what if Peter Pan wanted to take you to Neverland? Would you go? A contemporary sequel to J.M. Barrie's timeless classic Peter Pan, perfect for kids who love the land of stories and the dream of going to Neverland. Clover and Fergus are the great-great-grandchildren of Wendy Darling. Yes, that Wendy. And now Peter Pan wants to take them to Neverland for the adventure of their lives. But Clover's a little nervous. She's supposed to look after her brother. Fergus has autism, and not everyone makes him feel welcome. What if she can't protect him in this magical world? Fergus isn't nervous at all. To him, Neverland seems like a dream come true. He's tired of Clover's constant mothering and wants some independence, like Peter and the Lost Boys have. He wonders, why can't the real world be more like Neverland? Neverland is fun and free, but it's also dangerous and even scary at times. There are unfamiliar creatures lurking in the shadows and strange sounds coming from the waters, and then the mermaids start to go missing. In an imaginative and thoughtful continuation of the story of Peter Pan, Susan Adrian explores Neverland with a fresh perspective and indelible warmth, offering a new adventure based on a beloved classic. So if you want me to read this, vote Forever Neverland. Okay, so there were only 7 books that I still owned that I had not read. So here are the books that you can vote for, and I will be picking the number 1 voted book. So your options are Forest of 1,000 Lanterns, Dangerous Creatures, It Sounded Better in My Head, The Towering Sky, Shout, The Infinity Courts, and Forever Neverland. So comment down below which book, or you can vote for more than 1 book if you like, that you would like for me to read in the upcoming month. And I'll pick the number 1 voted book. I'm excited to see what y'all pick. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!